Thanks, Ron. The museum is definitely going to be world-class. Now, we've got a world-class collection. Our job now is to build and fit out a world-class building to put that collection in, to make it available, so that we can have programs for the youth, so we can have outreach to the community. That is going to take the design that you see in front of you. Now, we've engaged Torsia architects to do the first part of it, the feasibility study, to get an idea of the outlook of the museum itself, and those are on the boards in front of you. We have talked to the code enforcement officer in East Bloomfield. Mike has been just wonderful to us and very supportive. So we now know that it's feasible, that we can get the building that we need that will house what we have to do inside the land that we have. The next step is up to you. The next step is we need to fund it. And so in October, you will see a mailing coming out asking for your support, for you to join the conversation that we're going to have. The conversation is talking about AWA, what AWA has to offer to us as members, what AWA has to offer to the world as part of the enhancement of talking about the history of radio and other communications. Right? So I'll give you a little bit of a preview of the development fund announcement that's going to be coming out. Now, the firm that's helping us develop this is very interested in using some of our own terminology, and so you'll see our words being used in the words of asking for people to help us for the development. Right. It is big news. It's big news to us. It's big news to the town of East Bloomfield. This will be a destination. So it's big news to everyone in the whole Rochester area. It's big news to us, because now we'll be able to see it all. Before you would come, you would see what was in the museum. We were limited by space in the museum. If you went to the annex, you looked at there and you went, wow. You know, it's like wall to wall, floor to ceiling stuff. It's too nice of stuff. It's too world-class stuff. A collection has to be seen. It has to be made available. It has you have to bring my two grandsons. I want to be able to bring my two grandsons to this museum and get them interested in either electronics or radio, or get them interested in science. That's what we need to do, and that's what we want to do with this museum. We want to have that a place where you can come and bring the kids and make them say, wow, we've got the stuff to do it. We've got the expertise to do it. We need the building, we need your help. Right? So we're announcing the world's largest radio. Now, radio is in quotes in this. Now, let me explain that. You know, we've always referred to ourselves as electronic communications. We've also referred to us as a radio museum. When we want to do the materials for this campaign, electronic communications has become a very complex term to explain. You know, in the past, it was pretty easy to say, well, it was everything from telegraph to cellular. But to explain that in short words, you can't do it. So the goal here is, we're radio. People understand quickly what radio means. We bring them in, and then we show them the rest of the story. But if you say, if I were to say to my 13-year-old granddaughter, it's electronic communications. Oh, it's Twitter? No, it's radio and television. Okay, I know what radio is. It's wireless. Haven't got a clue. Telegraph? Maybe she has a clue. Maybe she's seen that in an old movie. But that's all a part of what we are. That spectrum of telegraph to wireless is what, to cellular is what we are. And that's what we will remain. The label will probably look like radio, because it's quick for people to understand what that means. And then it's up to us to bring them in and give them the whole story. Right? So, the bigger spark here is, we're going to spark the imaginations of those that come in to visit our museum, right? That's the picture of the museum in the front of it. Now that vestibule that you see out there is a Spartan blue sled radio, model 558. Believe it or not, Spartan's still in business. And so, rather than just use their artwork without asking them, I actually asked them. And we've got permission to use the blue sled radio as the front of their museum. It's going to be very attractive from it, and there'll be a facade behind it to display it properly. Right? So, this is where we're going to have the conversation. This museum is going to be show and tell. This is going to be where we'll be able to talk radio and talk telegraph and talk all the aspects of our communications. But talk with people that haven't been there before. Talk to ourselves is fun, and we can do that, and we should do that, and we should have the opportunity to enjoy the collection as collectors and talk about it and see them and well, I should say touch them, but I'll be real careful about that, because touch is not always the best thing we ought to be doing. But that'll be a place for us to share our enthusiasm for this broad spectrum that we call electronic communications. But it's more than that. It's got to be more than that. If we're going to engage the young people and more members, we have to get the enthusiasm that we have in our conversation and infuse that in them. We need to be able to present programs that they want to come and listen to. How about the kids coming on a Saturday morning to see Mr. Radio Wizard? All those kinds of ideas. You know, I loved Mr. Wizard when I was young. It got me interested in science. And so that's been lifelong in my mind because of Mr. Wizard. So that's part of what we're about. We're part about preservation. We have to preserve not only the artifacts themselves and continue to collect that and enhance our collection, but we need to keep the story that goes with them. They're just boxes of knobs and electronics if we don't understand and don't preserve the story. So the efforts of Mark Ellis and Bob Murray and others that will write books, that's the part that we need to engage. We need to have that. We need to retain it so that we preserve the story that goes along, the show and tell that goes along with it. That's the part that we need to be part of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be the center of that discussion. We're going to offer ourselves as the center of that discussion. That's the conversation that we're talking about, right? So, we need you. And we need you in October. And you'll see a request to help us with the development of this new museum. And we hope that you'll catch on and get enthusiastic about what we're trying to accomplish there. And you'll join us in the support of the building of this and funding of this museum.